Good morning, welcome to Crete, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lisa, if you haven't met me before. Just a little bit about me. I've lived in Crete here now for more than 30 years. We grew up 3 children here, and this vlog is going to be about living in Greece, the general day-to-day life. We will do a bit of travel, but it's not necessarily a travel vlog, but I will show you around some beautiful places, some nice houses, hotels, things like that. But it's more going to be about the stories and day-to-day life here and what we do on a daily basis. Also some great stories from the past as well. And what a week I've had this week. You cannot imagine what week I've had this week, but the biggest story of this week is the end of season. And so today we are going to be talking about that. So welcome. Well, when I say that the season has ended, basically here in Greece, for those of you that don't know, majority of us work a seasonal job. So I work for 6 months of the year. We run our own Airbnb, so that's one business that we do. And then I work part-time in tourism. I can't say who for, but I do, and I have done for quite a long time. In fact, since I was 16, I've worked in the tourism hospitality business. Not always here in Greece. I lived in Spain, mainland Spain, Tenerife, so different places. But obviously, when you're a foreign person living in Greece, you either need to carve out a niche and find something that you can do all year, which some people have done. My best friend has done that. Which is fantastic, but you have to have necessarily maybe like a talent or something to do something like that. The only other job that you can really work in, or jobs that you can be working, is something to do with tourism. So that's what the majority of us do here, and it's what I've done for a long time. But once October comes and the end of October comes and the season finishes, then we have 6 months of the year when we are not doing anything. Now, for me now, that's amazing because I'm older, I'm going to be 60 next year, so I can enjoy half of the year at least living in Greece. But when you're young, and especially when you've got a family, this is really, really tough. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Oh, it's so lovely here, look. I mean, look at the beaches when there's no one on them. Fantastic. I'll turn the camera around so you can see. So I'm back up at my house. I'll give you a quick spin round, show you the house, show you the garden and the view, which is amazing, and the pool, and just so you can just see where I am really. And I'm going to sit on a sunbed and carry on chatting to you. So until 3 years ago, I still had my last child living at home. So our daughter was still here, and most of my winters were consumed with school runs, clubs, extra schools in the afternoon, gymnastics. There was always something going on, and obviously any parent will understand that, and in Greece it's no different. So your winters are wrapped up with this. But of course, once your children leave home, you then have all of this time on your hands. And a couple of years ago, I started to dabble in AI, because you get all these pop-ups come up on Instagram all the time saying, you know, if you don't learn AI now, you're going to be at the bottom of the heap and you need to do it. So I thought, okay, I'll have a go. And I spent half the winter I think it was a year ago, teaching myself how to do it. And I made a few travel videos, had a go, but I didn't really enjoy it. I spent my whole day sitting at a computer, and that's not me. I like to be out and about and doing things. So I gave up that, but I kind of got the YouTube bug. So I thought, okay, I will have a go myself and wander around Crete and look at lovely things and video it, and then take my husband with me and take you guys with me as well. But that's also quite hard because this vlogging is quite difficult. It's not as easy as it looks. But anyway, here we are. We're having a go. So let's get back to the subject at hand, which is the end of season. Now, we're currently up at our house and I'm packing away all of the seasonal things that I use for my guests. So the towels and the sheets and things that I use for them. And then obviously we exchange it and we put the things that we use solely for ourselves. And it's given me time to contemplate the past, really, because now I'm older, I look forward to the winters. But when I was younger and I had a family at home, it used to install in me dread, absolute dread. And I know that anybody that lives in a seasonal place will understand me when I say this. And so I will go on now and try to explain what I mean. I've had to move because of the shadow. I've just noticed that you could see my camera. So anyway, we move on. Now back to Crete. In Crete, we live two very different lives. We have what we call the summer life and we have what we call the winter life. And we have real extremes here in Crete. Nothing is steady, nothing is on a plane level, let's say. Everything is disorganized and chaotic. The weather, the people, the schools, your jobs, everything is wild. And I've had lots of friends leave Crete because of this, because it's not an easy situation to live with. Even the children, my children, found it chaotic. As soon as they were old enough, they all went and lived in England. And in England, they say they love it because life is steady and they know what they're doing and they work these days and they have these days off. And so to live here, you've got to be quite strong. As I said, I've had friends leave. We actually left ourselves once because I couldn't cope with it all. And then we came back, which is crazy, but we did. And there's a reason why we come back, but we'll talk about that another day. So, life here is pretty mad. So it was never the working side, working that was a problem for us. We run a business. My husband worked, 15, 16 hours a day. He loved it. He worked 7 days a week. I worked a full-time job. I had 3 children. I would work on the days off. I would help him in the bar. That was never a problem. The problem was when the end of season started to come, I would become filled with anxiety, nervousness, stress, and even my husband would worry, especially when you've got children. And it's not because of the children and finishing work, really. It's none of that. It's the financial side, because when you live in a seasonal resort, suddenly that stops. The money stops. So whatever you've earned during that summer season, you have got to live on in the winter. And that can be really tough. I've worked with people that have cried, grown men cried at the end of the season and said, I don't know how we're going to survive another winter. Now, of course, there are some jobs. You can find some jobs. When our children were small, my husband had some jobs in the winter, and some he never got paid for either, but that's also another story. But yes, of course, there are some jobs, but there are not jobs for everybody. So you have to survive on that money. And with that, every year brought worry. And so anyone that lives in a seasonal place, be it in the States or on the Greek islands, on a different island, or anywhere really, even in the UK maybe, although I think in the UK maybe you can have universal credit or benefits in the winter. See, we have some benefits here. So your employer pays a little bit of extra national insurance money during the year, and you do get some money, but it is very minimal. I think when the children were here, or even now, I get about €1,600, and that is for the whole winter. That's not monthly, that's for the whole winter. So
you can't really call it benefits. It's a very small payment that you get, and it probably lasts about a month, especially if you've got kids. So so that was always very, very tough, and that causes a lot of problems for a lot of people, especially here on the Greek islands. I think here as well, I need to talk about the Greek salary, because if you work for a foreign company, which I have done on several occasions, you can earn a fairly decent wage. So you can save something for the winter, let's say. But if you work for a Greek, it's likely that you are on the Greek national wage, which is currently €880 a month. And after tax, I think that works out about 740. And the majority of people that I know that work in tourism earn this salary. You can't save anything for the winter. It's impossible. Years ago, when it was the drachma, I think people had more spare cash. So people were able to save a bit more maybe for the winter. But in the last 15 years with the austerity, it's been absolutely impossible. 10 years ago, the salary was between €400 and €600 a month. So it's not possible to save for the winter. I can hear everybody, living in other countries, why don't you save half your salary? You can't. You literally need that money to live on. So this adds to the worry, of course, for most people. And on the Greek islands, the majority of people work in tourism. So some obviously don't. We've got a lot of friends that work as teachers and accountants and, other jobs. But the majority, especially on the islands, work in tourism. So most earn fairly low salaries, and then this has to stretch for 12 months of the year. So the sun's gone behind a big cloud, so I've moved again. But I'm just going to tell you this funny story. So recently I was at work with a colleague, and this lady came from nowhere. We don't know where she come from. And she came over to us and started telling us how lucky we were. She was saying, "You lucky girls, look at you living the dream." And afterwards I thought, these people have no idea. We had soaking wet underwear, soaking wet clothes from, 38-degree heat. Our feet were throbbing because we've been standing on our feet in terrible shoes all day long. And I just thought, God, do people really, really believe that we are living the dream when we're working here in Crete? So, yeah, hopefully these vlogs are going to put you all right. Tell you the truth. So I can hear you all saying, why on earth did you stay? Well, honestly, I asked myself that question a million times, but of course, to every negative, there is always a positive. Once we had recovered from the summer, the winters were very precious for me because I had time to be with my children, and I knew that I was very lucky to have this time. I would shove the worry of survival to the back of my mind and return once more to being a full-time mum, which I loved. Our children grew up in a safe, if not crazy, environment with us and grandparents that adored them. They spent June to October at the family bar, which was on the beach where all the family worked. They spent long, hot summer days on the beach, in the sea. They had boats, trampolines, bouncy castles and friends. And I had time with them. I had time for walks, cycling and roller skating with my kids. I had time to cook a proper meal every day and make cakes and jams. I also had time to sit and do crafts with them and help them with their homework, things that I know that mums that work all year struggle to find time to do. I was able to take them to their football, swimming and gymnastic clubs and afternoon schools. I basically had time, which was amazing. I caught up with my old friends, had coffee mornings and nights out, and I had and still do have a fabulous group of friends. And we all went through this together. We all understood what each of us was going through. We all supported each other, and it's something that has binded us together over the years. When the winter months would come to an end, my daughter would beg me not to go back to work. She loved having her mum at home, but this is the life on the islands. When you can work, you work, because there are many months when you just can't. So those 6 months with my family were very, very precious. I also had a great job for many years that I loved. I met amazing people from all over the world, and my husband had a beautiful beach bar, and I loved that too. Now that we're older and the kids are all financially independent, we have slowed down a bit, I suppose. We do run an Airbnb, which is definitely not for the faint-hearted, as it is still quite a lot of work, and I also have my part-time job. Nowadays, when the season finally ends, I feel a huge sense of accomplishment and relief that I've made it through another hot Cretan summer. Can I say that the old anxiety still doesn't creep in? No, not really. It's difficult to change a habit of a lifetime, but I know that we will survive. We always did. Even in COVID we did, when our island was closed to the outside world. And of course now there is just the two of us to worry about. I know there will be hundreds of places around the world where people rely on tourism as their mainstay, and that you will be able to relate to how we live here. Our 3 children have all upped and left Greece, at least for the time being anyway, as they didn't want to live with this uncertainty, and they are very happy to get a paycheck for 12 months of the year. We did, of course, consider over the years living somewhere else where we could work all year, but then the payoff of that would have meant that I would have lost my precious winters with my family. My brother on a visit once said to me that everywhere you go in Greece there is always music and people are always dancing, and there is a wildness to this island. Crete somehow invades you, it gets under your skin, it becomes a part of your soul, and of course I do love to get off of this island, but when I'm away I always think of the wildness and the spontaneity of home. So I'm going to leave you with a little quote from an old classic movie, Zorba the Greek, which was filmed here in Crete in 1964, that says, "A man needs a little madness, or he never dares to cut the rope and be free."
Well, that rounds up another video. Thank you for watching if you've got this far. I was just thinking, if you're living on another Greek island and you are a foreign lady or gentleman even, reach out in the comments and let me know what island you're living on, and if you enjoy it, and do you work in tourism, and what do you do in the winter? I mean, a lot of people here in Crete do olives, but we'll talk about that another day. I actually met a lady once, just thinking about it, in Athens when we were snowed in. We were snowed in for a whole day, and I will talk about that in another video. So so if you would like to hear more stories, don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, it's completely free, and have a great week and see you soon.